Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Vlogmas day 15. I am going to level with you and be honest that today was not my most productive girl boss day. My daily vlog for today, I'm basically just gonna get ready. My friend is throwing a holiday party. I'm going to be fashionably late. It's at 8, it's currently 7:42, so I'm going to put some makeup on my face, and I wanted to talk about the sex lives of college girls and the case for 22 episode seasons. I'm going to very quickly change my top because I don't want to put my shirt on over my makeup, and then I will show you how I went from this to this. We'll put the that looking hot and sexy and gorgeous. How much better the back camera on the iPhone is over the front camera, and so I can't see myself to know like if I'm in frame, if I'm in focus, anything like that, but I know that the video quality is gonna be good. I know that. Yeah, I'm in frame. All right, so if you're like me, a young Gen Z in her prime, you probably have also watched The Sex Lives of College Girls. I love that show. Like, I really enjoy it. I really love all of the actresses who are in it. I like how candid it is about like the life of young people at this current juncture in history. I do have to be completely honest. I watched the second season and I don't think that it had the level of quality that the first season had, which could be an HBO Max problem. Like, we all know that Warner Brothers is seriously trying to cut costs. For what precise reason, I don't know. Like, I don't know all the like mechanics behind it, but like they are really trying to cut costs, and their programming is suffering because of that. Watching the second season, I just was like, the storylines were very underbaked to me. Like, nothing really made sense to me, you know. And I am like a TV excuse me I am like a TV and movies nerd. Like, I love TV. I love movies. I love stories being told. You know, you guys know I love books. Like, I love when stories are told in that manner. I think it's really interesting. I find it to be really engaging. I just like enjoy. All right, so we're talking about Sex Lives of College Girls on HBO Max. It's a really good show. Like, I do really enjoy it. Mindy Kaling knows what she's doing when it comes to making TV shows about the youth and whatnot. Like, I like it better than Never Have I Ever, if I'm being honest, but it's just because the Mindy Kaling self-insert in Never Have I Ever is like so obvious. And like, of course she's gonna want to date Ben. Like, he's the white one next. I think I also like that Sex Lives of College Girls has like 4 main characters that are considerably well developed, and they all have their own different stories going on. Like, I think that they're all really cool and I love them, and the cast of characters that surround them. My issue with this season of the show has mainly been that the stories are, it's like watching unbaked brownie batter, the TV show. Like, the stories are so undercooked, I can't even explain it. They just did not give themselves enough time to develop any of the storylines that they were developing, and it's like, it's stuff that I wanted to happen, you know? I wanted Whitney to realize that sleeping with white men would not fix her life. I wanted Bella to realize that her chase for clout was going to only lead her to a horrible path. I wanted Leighton to get a new partner and then get back with Alicia. And I wanted Kanan to date Whitney. Not Whitney. I did not want I did want Kanan to date Whitney, but then they didn't have any chemistry, so I was like, oh, I don't care about this. I wanted Kanan to date Kimberly. I did. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who wanted that to happen, but I wanted it, and it happened. But the issue is like, none of it was properly developed. Spent the first, like, 2 episodes on the fact that the Kappa house had been decommissioned, and they, like, weren't allowed to go to parties or whatever, and then packing the last 8 episodes with character development, and like it didn't make much sense to me as an avid watcher of television. And I think it's because they were trying to compress the events of a 22 episode season into 10 episodes, and that's just not going to work unless you have British people working for you. Like, British TV shows, especially the comedies, I feel like they do it best when it comes to being able to tell a complete story in 6 to 10 episodes. And I feel like that's where the US tried to get it from, but the difference, the US TV industry and the English TV industries are very different. They're not the same. And so just trying to, like, reproduce a model based off of different consumer expectations, it's not gonna work. I don't know if I'm talking out of my ass here, but I feel like the 10 episode season in England was born from their publicly funded television channels not having the money to just let the show go and go. And so they're like, you have 10 episodes, find a way to tell the story in that. And they got really good at it. So even when there are, like, for-profit TV channels now, like ITV and Channel 4, like, even with those channels that run ads now, the consumer expectations in England are different of the ways that stories are told than the ones in the US. In the US, we expect the TV season to have that, like, natural story arc, a build up, a crescendo, and then a denouement. And yes, there are problems with the 22 episode season, namely that you end up with a bunch of filler episodes, but it's like the filler episodes always add depth. They, like, chunk out the rest of the story. This is something that I've learned in, like, binge watching TV shows from the 80s and 90s, is that the filler episodes are never real filler, because the producers and the writers always manage to put something of note in that quote-unquote filler episode. Like, something happens that is going to change the story or further the character's arc for the season. It's not just like the episode exists for no reason. And if you miss the filler episode, if you're like, oh, this is a filler episode, let me skip it, then you're gonna miss something important. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's not really filler. The place where Sex Lives of College Girls goes wrong, in my opinion, is that there's no space for these characters and their storylines to breathe. There's no room. It's just like boom, 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 things happening. And so the development, the progression of the season didn't really make sense to me. How in the first season, the first and second season together are 20 episodes, right? The first season came out end of 2022, beginning of 2021. The second season came out, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. The second season came out, like, at the end of 2022. First off, that production schedule doesn't make any sense. Why so much time between the first season and the second season? We know COVID, like, all of that stuff, but I feel like I want to make a more, like, formal video about this and about how I feel like TV has the streaming, like, experiments are great. I think TV needs to go back to what's tried and true, like the things that we know works. Fall and spring seasons with a hiatus in the summer. 22 episode seasons. If it's too harsh on the actors, like if the filming schedule is too demanding, give them breaks, you know? what is ABC? Abbott Elementary is currently on their winter hiatus. ABC does that every single damn year. From mid-December to January, their shows go off air. We could do that more often throughout the year, you know? It's just like from season 1 of Sex Lives of College Girls, we go from the opening, those across those 10 episodes, we go from the beginning of the school year to Thanksgiving break. That to me, that like time trajectory to me made sense, but it also was like, why is season 2 about the same year of college? Like, college, you could do 4 seasons. It doesn't matter. Excuse me. Season 2 comes on, and it's taking us from the end of Thanksgiving break through winter break through spring semester to the end of the school year in 10 episodes. A span of time that was covered over 2 months in the first 10 episodes is now covering, like, what, 4 months, 6 months in the second 10 episodes, which is why I think the second half of the season, or I even think that it's the second half of the season. It's why the second season felt so rushed to me, because it's like, this timeline doesn't make any sense. You're not allowing anything time to breathe. And even though the episodes were coming out on a weekly basis, like, I feel like that helped it in a way, because we're not just like sitting and binging. And that might have been my problem, is that I did wait for them all to be available on HBO Max, and then I watched them all in one go. Not all in one go, but I watched the first 5 and then I watched the second 5. So maybe I'm experiencing it differently than you were supposed to, but even still, it's like, the time doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense how all of this stuff happened in so like little episodes. It didn't make sense to me that Bella and Eric started hooking up and then started dating and then broke up all in the same season. Like, Bella and Eric should have started hooking up in the first season. That would have made much more sense. Her cheating on him too kind of makes sense, but like, not really. Like, the choices that her character makes all throughout this season are just very confusing to me. And it's, I think, more than anything, an issue of underdevelopment and them not giving the characters enough space and time to like grow and change and breathe on screen with us, the audience, where we can see it. And so it got to be frustrating to watch, like, every succeeding episode, just seeing all of these things happening. And I was like, how did Leighton get to the place where she was comfortable coming out? What change did she experience over the course of, from Thanksgiving break to fucking the middle of the school year, that made her feel comfortable enough to come out to her parents? And if they were so accepting, I mean, I get it, like, but still, if they were so accepting, why was she so scared in the first place? She knows her parents better than anybody else does. I just, like, if there was a reason for the fear, like a justified reason for the fear, then I feel like I would get it more. But I'm still like, what? Like, so many things felt rushed and didn't add up. I want to even go through, let me go through the girls one by one. Ooh, that was too much blush on that side. That's okay, I'll powder it. I want to go through the girls one by one and just talk about, like, everything about their storylines that didn't make sense. So Kimberly dating that sexy, quote-unquote, man from Kansas makes sense to me, because, like, in the course of a season, I could see them getting from dating to realizing that they don't have anything in common to breaking up. What didn't make sense was that they added Kimberly dating Kanan They just like tacked that on to the end of this season. Why? For what reason? I don't really know. There were strings that were left untied in the first season that should have been tied up at the end of the first season so that they would make more sense in the second season. Like, Kimberly and Kanan, I feel like, had a lot of chemistry in the first season of the show. Even just, like, when they were first being introduced to each other. I saw them on screen together, and I was like, oh, they should date. Like, that to me makes sense. And especially the way that Mindy Kaling is down for the swirl and is obsessed with interracial couples. I was like, oh, this makes sense. They come from similar socioeconomic backgrounds. They were both in econ class together. Like, they have a lot in common. There's a lot. It made sense to me that they would date based off of the first season. But then we go through all of the storylines of the second season, and I'm like, by the time they start to date at the end of the, or by the time that they kiss, I should say, because it's not confirmed that they're dating, at the end of the second season, I'm just like, how did we get back here? I noted this chemistry in the first episode of the first season, and it's only being, like, seized upon at the end of the second season without really any discussion of the fact that it existed, and without any telegraphing, basically. Usually when there's a will they won't they couple, the production is like, they have like longing looks across a room, or tension, or they're allowed to like flirt with each other over the course of the time that they're together on the show. We didn't get that with Kimberly and Kanan. So when we find out that like he might have feelings for her in the last 2 episodes of season 2, it's kind of like, okay, but she's been with this farm boy this whole time. This farm boy who like doesn't even really have a developed personality, much like Whitney, but we'll talk about that later. So why is this happening now? It did not really make sense to me. The next person I want to talk about going off of Kimberly and Kanan is Whitney. Whitney's entire trajectory over the course of this season was very confusing to me, because I was like, okay, I get her being into STEM in a way, because she had never really expressed interest in anything else that was in anything academic at Essex. She had just kind of like been the soccer girl. So I get her realizing like over the course of the season, like, oh, this is something that I actually really care about. I'm really interested in this, and I'm good at it. If I like, when I put my mind to it, I can really get it done or whatever. What I don't understand is why, like, her whole relationship with Kanan this season was very confusing to me, because I was like, either they're gonna do it, either they're gonna commit to these two POC, these two blacks being together, or they're not. And they very obviously decided to not commit to it. But then, like, her still having feelings for him. I mean, I guess I get it because he was the one who broke up with her. But, like, baby, there's other fish in the sea. Why is it about the men? And that's the issue that I have with a lot of the plot of this show. Everyone except Leighton, it feels like, has a storyline that is based solely around guys. Like, Bella's storyline is about the white comedy bros that she wants to sleep her way to the top with. Whitney's storyline is about the all the super hot guys that she ends up dating, even though people seem to think that she's not hot, even though she's literally Pauline Chalamet. Oh my god, I keep mixing up Kimberly and Whitney. They're not the same person. Kimberly's storyline is about all the hot guys that she dates. Whitney's storyline is about first her being stigmatized by this teacher who she shouldn't have even been dating in the first place, and then her dating this like chemistry guy from her, or this guy from her biochem class who, like, to me, I just was like, another white man, again, a fucking gown, same thing every day. You don't get tired, Mindy Kaling. Like, it doesn't exhaust you to just, like, it doesn't matter. She's not the showrunner of the show, obviously, but, like, her dating that guy from her biochem class was just so confusing to me, and it really did not make much sense, especially because anyone will tell you, I'm a fan of Bad Boys, okay? My favorite character from Gilmore Girls is Jess Mariano. I don't like the, like, storyline where a guy is mean to a girl and then they end up hooking up. Like, that's not my bag. I like grumpy boy who's only nice to the girl that he's dating. Those are problems that I have that I can digest later, but yes, that is my bag. And so Whitney with biochem guy, we all saw it coming from a mile away. We all groaned as it was approaching. It wasn't interesting. And she could have been doing something so much more interesting with her time. Kimberly gets this really cool union storyline, which, like, I know kind of doesn't make sense because the bitch is from Arizona. Politically, what are we expecting her to be like? But, like, she gets that, like, civic engagement storyline. I want to see Whitney get something similar, or just get something to do that doesn't have to do with men. Damn. So, yeah, Whitney's storyline, it just was, like, the same as last season, to me, really, was, like, she has this activity that she's interested in. Last season it was soccer, this season it's biochemistry, and then there's a black guy who's flirting with her, and she really likes him, but it doesn't work out for some reason. Both seasons it was Kanan, and then she starts having sex with a white man. Same basic elements. Bella's storyline, I don't quite know how she became Joaquin Phoenix from the Joker over the course of the season. I see how it happened, like, based off of her actions from last season too. She was always, like, she said, what did she say? She was like, I gave 15 hand jobs, and then she got on the Catellan. Like, she's not a person who has a problem with sleeping her way to the top. That's clear. What I didn't understand was her asking Eric to date her. What I didn't understand, what wasn't well developed was her relationship with Eric. It simply was not well developed. Like, it did not really make sense to me that they got to exclusivity territory within this season. If they had started hooking up last season, like even in the last episode of last season, then I would have understood better why she was so, like, interested in dating him this season, but they didn't. It's really, like, to me it's really just an issue of writing and not them not having enough time to properly develop this relationship. Show the care, show the love, show the, like, the reasons that she might want to make the relationship with him exclusive, other than her being jealous of that other girl. Which, like, if the only reason was that she was jealous of that other girl, cool, that's pretty evil of her, in my opinion, and that makes sense, but she seemed really broken up about it later, so it feels like there was more motivation than just that, but we didn't really get to see that. She goes on this, like, huge villain downward spiral, just, like, being obsessed with clout and all of that, which, again, I would say makes sense, but then the conclusion of that being that she wants to leave Essex does not make sense to me at all. I thought she was gonna go back to the Catellan. Well, Eric is in charge of the Catellan, so she couldn't do that, but, like, if he wasn't in charge of the Catellan, like, it would make more sense to me if she tried to go back to the Catellan and then like really be in her villain era and try to destroy the thing that she created because the girls from the Foxy didn't want her anymore. Like, that makes more sense to me than her being like, I want to transfer to a different school. What's a different school gonna do, baby? You're still gonna be yourself there. It's just, it didn't really make much sense to me. And the other thing is, like, she's talking as if she has no reason to stay at Essex. Her roommates are her best friends on that campus. Like, they're so sweet to her. They're so kind. They're like her rock. If she just leans on them, they could be her support group. She's literally taking a biochemistry class with Whitney, who can help her. It's just, it did not really make much sense to me. And also, like, we all know Miss Girl is not going to transfer. She's staying on the show. Why would she leave? It's a red herring cliffhanger ending that doesn't really make much sense to me, and also didn't hit the way that I think that they wanted it to hit. Did I go through all the girls? Leighton. The thing that doesn't make sense to me about Leighton is how she got from being absolutely terrified of anyone finding out that she was gay to being ready to come out. Like, we don't get to see her go on that journey over the course of the season. We don't get to see her. It would make sense to me if she had, like, spent more time in the women's center or the gender. I don't know what it's called. But, like, in that place where she was forced to go in the first season. And they, like, slowly helped her come to the realization about her, like, coming out, and like, even if her parents don't accept her, she's still loved, whatever. But she didn't. There was nothing to me that felt like it really catalyzed her wanting to be like, I'm gay and I'm dating this bitch, Merry Christmas, or I'm so glad we're having dinner right now. I think through the gay grapevine that the situation had changed and the circumstances were ripe for them to get back together. That makes sense because lesbians. But like, everything else surrounding it, very confusing. And how and why were they just like together again by the end of the season? Like, she was dating Tatum. I understand Tatum was a bitch at that party, but like, where did that go? Like, it doesn't just, I don't know. It did not add up to me. The one thing that I will say I feel like made sense was her not wanting to be in the sorority anymore. But again, it wasn't given the time to breathe that it deserved. Like, the track of her going through the disillusion, we weren't able to track her going through the disillusionment with that system. And so it was just like one bad conversation at this fundraising party, and now I don't want to be in this sorority that I thought was going to be my entire college experience. They even nominated her social chair. Like, was that a difficult decision for her? Did she struggle with it? Did it make her sad that she wasn't the person that she thought she was anymore? We don't know, because we don't get to see any of that. And it's just like, it's just frustrating. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, I really like this show. I really enjoy these characters. I think it's so fun, and like, I really think that there's nothing on TV like it. But it's also like, they are not giving these people enough time to create a show with the level of quality that we know that it can have. Like, season 2 should have gone up from season 1, and it, for the most part, like, either plateaued or went down slightly in quality. And I don't know exactly what the issue is. Like, I don't know if it's a case of like the budget was lower, they didn't want to do like risky storylines because of the network. I don't exactly know like what the issue was that kept them from like increasing in quality from season 1 to season 2. But I know that I want season 3 to be amazing. Like, I literally just want it to be so good. And it's one of those situations where it's like, you have to let yourself be great, you know? Like, The HBO Max, the showrunners, they have to let themselves be great. They need to let go of the white men. We don't want to see it anymore, Mindy. Like, it was cute in 2013 when we were all 12 watching the Mindy Project, but we're adults now. If he's not sexy, if there isn't a reason for him to be on the screen, he's not sexy, he's not funny, kind, nice, loving, caring, providing something other than a lack of melanin, we don't want to see it. I think HBO needs to, and this isn't going to happen because they're like, oh, I forgot to do my eyebrows. Oh, this isn't going to happen because they are like severely cutting costs at Warner Brothers Discovery, because why the fuck did Warner Brothers buy Discovery? Because Congress let them, that's why. And we need anti-monopoly laws again. But like, they need to give them more episodes. The type of stories that these writers want to be telling, even if I didn't like the stories, if they were properly developed, I could at least like excuse, God bless you, Rosie, I could at least excuse that like it wasn't my favorite storyline, but I see how we ended up there. Do you know what I mean? Like, they need more, the type of stories that these writers want to be telling, they need more time and space to tell them. And I don't see HBO giving them that time and space, but, you know, we can always pray. I'm going to take my dog out, put on the rest of my outfit, and then come back and show you the final before I show up to this holiday party 40 minutes late. Just so you can get a closer look of the makeup, I did this sparkly red eye with green on the inner corner, and not on the inner corner, on the inner lash line. And then I have my festive, like, shiny Primark earrings. I'm running so late. I need to leave very soon, but thank you so much for watching this video. Do you watch the Sex Lives of College Girls? Do you have thoughts about this latest season? Again, like, I really like the show. I want to see it thrive. And so I just want to be clear that this criticism comes from a place of love, not hatred. I think all of the actresses are beautiful and funny and talented, and I want to be friends with all of them. And same for the writers, honestly. Like, good for them for bringing a show like this to television so that people have access to it. But yes, I'm gonna head out, and that is all. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.